This week in social media, brought to you by The Average Joes.
Well, there's a lot that's, I think, gone on in the world since yesterday.
There is.
I mean, yesterday, Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And we got a couple other things we want to talk about with the Lunar New Year and the Grammys and Super Bowl predictions and whatnot. But,
Right.
I mean, I think the biggest thing on everybody's brain from yesterday has really been Kobe's death and his daughter's.
Biggest thing on everybody's brain, everybody's social media feed, everybody's
heart.
Yeah, is
It's rough.
the untimely demise. Yep. I mean, we never know when our last day is going to be our last day.
No.
And if we ever got to pick it, I doubt that anybody would pick the way it happened to him. I mean, it was just so out of the blue. I mean, you're taking a helicopter ride, and then next thing you know, it goes down.
Well, I'd seen some stuff where he did the private helicopter thing so that he could make it to more of his kids' things.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so I think it was...
Well, I'm sure he was a busy man.
It was his helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he owned it. So.
And then wasn't it the coach, the coach's family, the coach and their
And a
kid?
couple of the kids that were on the team.
And the dad,
Yeah.
I think, was a University of Houston alumni, and he's apparently like one of the most renowned JUCO baseball coaches.
Something, yeah. But
What's a JUCO? JUCO?
JUCO. Sorry.
Yeah.
Junior.
I've heard it both
Yeah,
ways.
that's fair. I
what
thought
got
you were talking about John.
What got me with the whole thing is like they haven't really talked about how does this happen.
Oh, yeah.
I
Well,
think that's going to take some time.
That might take a minute. I mean, was there
I just
foul
was-
play or not? Nobody wants to get into that right now.
I was
They're too
taken
heartbroken.
back the footage of the crash site with how big the fire was still.
Yeah.
But did y'all hear that
It's
TMZ
tragic.
broke it publicly before
told
LA?
the family.
Yeah, they'd even
Right.
told the wife. So like the family found out
Through TMZ.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
that's horrible.
That's
and this is
par
a
for course
this
for
is
TMZ.
well, it's that, but this is a world of if you're not first, you truly are last.
Well,
I
I
mean,
love Ricky Bobby.
In terms, no, but just in terms of information, in terms of
No,
knowledge,
right.
in terms of the story, TMZ apparently put where they felt on the map of knowing this story and being able to get it out there. They put that higher than tact and just being
It's
a
just-
decent person or people or whatever.
Well, I just think. I mean, I can't imagine the family. Like, I mean, trying to think about the wife. You lose your husband. Now you've lost a child.
Well, there's no good.
You know,
there's
it's
no
just-
good way to hear that information.
No, there's not. But
There, I think clearly there's a bad way.
to me, it was the misinformation of it all to begin with.
Yeah.
Like I heard about it. One of my buddies sent me it wasn't Twitter, it wasn't Facebook, it wasn't one of the big social media ones. It's like, hey, is this real? Like,
Right.
in our fantasy football thread, You know,
Right.
we text each other, and I looked at it, I was like, no, that's fake news.
Oh,
Because
that's
I googled it, and
that
it
was
wasn't.
everybody's
Right.
first
I
reaction.
wasn't Google, but then I Googled it, and then probably 5 minutes later, I was like, I don't know, maybe it is.
Well, so
Then TMZ, but there was like 3 or 4 people who had already come out with it. Then
Well-
30 minutes later, it was everybody.
So there's that, and one thing that got me was I went to Wikipedia and it had his death date on there already,
Gosh.
and I was like,
Yeah.
how is it so fast?
so we were playing Fortnite.
Yeah,
Kelly called and said something about Kobe. I could hear it, and so I pull up my phone
yep.
and I look on Facebook first. And shout out to Andy Bongiorno.
Okay,
He had posted R.I.P. Kobe, and I was like, no. So I Googled Kobe Bryant,
right.
and it just gave a bunch of news stories about LeBron surpassing him on the record. I was like, well, then he probably just was saying something like R.I.P. Kobe's legacy or record
Points
or
or
something.
whatever,
Yeah, something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But saw nothing. And then you text me, Jared
Right.
text me, and was like, oh my gosh, see the news about Kobe. And I was like, I don't know, is this even real?
Yeah.
And so by the time I was like, I'm just going to put a Facebook post, is this even real? And then all of a sudden it was just like the
Blew up.
floodgates opened.
Yep.
A lot
Everything.
of misinformation was coming out.
Yeah,
with
well,
With how many people? Because it went from
That was-
2 people to
They
3
said
people
his
to
whole,
5
all of
to
his
9.
daughters
It
were
was
on
all
there at
his
one
da-
point.
they,
Yeah.
they did that on the Pro Bowl. I was watching the Pro Bowl,
Oh,
and they interrupted
It was
the Pro
ABC.
Bowl.
They
Yeah.
interrupted.
Yeah,
Yep.
they popped up there. The guy said, yeah, it was Kobe and his 4 daughters.
Yep.
And those were all the people that were on there.
Yeah, because me and
5 of them.
Stacia were debating that for a while on
Yeah.
one of the threads.
oh my goodness.
And I'm telling my friends this, like, oh my God, they just said that, his whole family died,
Right.
type deal. And and then come to find out that was all misinformation. Then I heard Rick Fox was on there. It just felt like everyone's trying to be first instead of like fact checking before
Yep.
they actually
If you guys get a chance, I couldn't sleep last night, and I was trying to find something on TV to go to sleep to. And
Yep.
Sports Center, that guy with the what is his name? The guy with the glasses.
The guy.
Yeah, well, he has his
with
own
the
logo,
glasses.
right? His logo is like headphones and glasses.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Not Van Peoples, but something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But he's the Sports Center guy, and they did like a couple-hour thing where it was just talking about Kobe, the people that wanted, they were emotionally capable of coming on, and
Yeah.
then they were recapping how it just caught fire around the world, really. And the Shaq's response was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like they really consider themselves brothers, so their
Yep.
children called them aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews, you know.
Yep.
And then I saw where Shaq's son, who's playing college ball, posted on Instagram like he had, like Kobe had texted him that morning because they were, they always talked and stuff, and so he was just talking about. I mean, I'm gonna get goosebumps just retelling the story, but like he goes, I wish I had woken up early so I could have talked to my uncle one more time.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff
Just
that
insane.
that rips at people. I mean, it just rips at their heartstrings and stuff. I mean, if you want to compare it, back you've heard the song Miss American Pie, talking about the day the music died. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, the Big Bopper and stuff when their helicopter went down. Back when they lost, what was it, 3 or 4 very prominent up-and-coming singers. I mean,
Yeah,
this is the
Ricky
sports.
Valley wasn't supposed to be on it, but they
Right.
gave him somebody gave him the spot. I think it
Because
was
he may have been like he was
was
trying
sick.
to avoid being sick, I think, and being on the bus with all the sick people because they were
There's
starting to get sick.
something.
It was something like that. But I mean, this is the sports new age current event equivalent of that type of event. I mean, because back then music was the thing that got to everybody. Music was
similar like when Elvis passed and stuff like that, but
Well,
I think his was less.
Elvis was a little more
It was a little different.
self-induced than it was accidental.
You could see it coming. With
Right,
Elvis.
with Elvis, a little bit. I mean, kind of, but my
even-
point is that back then, music got to everybody. That's how everybody related to things. That's how everybody really connected was through music. Because that radio was the most common form of communication back when all that happened. Now, sports is how most people, especially in this country, communicate. They talk about sports. They talk about statistics. They talk about who's the best team. They talk about all
Sports
their
is on
alliances.
social media now.
All kinds of
sports,
stuff.
There, I saw a thing where there's a esports company starting, and they at the Mall of America they did their flagship place, but they're signing pro athletes.
Yep.
And then managing them going into pro-am gaming events, and then having like events where people can come play games with them and stuff.
They got,
Sure.
they got college scholarships.
Yeah.
For e-gaming now.
Yeah,
Well, no, I mean,
that's
but
true.
this is
That's true.
this is just like football players, like all the famous like regular sports athletes who like to play video games socially now.
Huh.
They're going to start managing them to bring them to those masses, because athletes are really, they're not just about. It's not just athletes anymore. I mean, was it Jeter started the Athletic?
I don't know. This is
The
new. This
online
is news to me.
magazine?
I don't know.
Where it's basically it's a online publication where players get to tell their own stories.
Huh.
It's pretty neat stuff. But yeah, I'm just saying athletes aren't just being athletes anymore. They're getting into music, movies, television. I mean, Kobe won an Oscar.
Yeah,
You know,
that's fair.
it's
It's tragic.
yeah,
I
pretty
think we
heavy.
can't forget that there was several other people that passed on that plane.
There's no question about that.
and what I saw on the news was that there was 3 people from a family, the father, the mom, and a daughter that left a older son and then a younger daughter too. So that just that's terrible.
Yep.
You know.
I think that was
Breaks my
the
heart.
guy from the baseball coach.
is.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
but I think that just goes to, again, the point that you never know what your life is going to lead to, what
Right.
your decisions are going to be made of, or what's going to be made of your decisions, and just things you can't control. You know, Joey and I have this conversation all the time. You know, what can you control? What can't you control? And what should you worry about? And all kinds of stuff. And, you know, I mean, that type of thing kind of seems like it was completely out of their control completely. You know, I mean, yes, they could have chosen a different form of transportation, but how many times had they boarded that type of helicopter
Right.
and nothing went wrong? You know,
I mean,
So-
we talked about this when in John Ross's passing
Right.
earlier last year. You don't know.
Yep.
You really don't know, and
Yep.
it's I don't know. It's hard to think about just from a human perspective.
Yep.
Hard to think about from a relationship, significant other perspective, and it's super hard to think about from a parent perspective.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, so I mean, Kobe Bryant, much respect and
Yep.
for everything he's done in this life, the example that he set, and hopefully, his life, even though it was cut way too short, likewise with his daughter.
Yep.
Hopefully, there will be many people's lives touched by what they've done.
Yep.
And will do great things in honor of them.
And hope that maybe family members that they left behind can find some peace as quickly as possible. I mean,
It's gonna be a long road.
It's going to be a long road, but I imagine the support system, especially that Kobe may have had, is going to rally pretty strongly, and so hopefully they can find some peace and be able to get through that.
Yeah, I mean, I think finding solace and celebrating, his life is one thing. I think the loss of the daughter might end up being
The harder
the one that haunts.
Yep.
The same thing
Yep.
With Jared mentioned those other families.
Yep.
That their loss is no less significant to the
No,
world.
it's not.
Right.
But hopefully, in all this, those families will be able to have the love and support they need around them and not feel encompassed by the,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
because they wouldn't have been. I mean, if you wanted to play the card of like what would Kobe have wanted, you know what I mean? Like if you're thinking that type of thing, I mean, he must have considered them pretty close, like family.
Oh yeah.
He was traveling with them, so I'm sure
Absolutely.
I'm sure something will be done to honor them as well.
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely.
But
In other news.
Yeah, in other news, not to take away from this, but just keeping up with some different things in social media.
Yeah.
So the Grammys, who watched the Grammys last night?
I did. I watched
I
some
did
of it.
not.
I'm out on the Grammys.
I used to love the Grammys every year. Got super excited because of all like the mashups, like the year that Jay-Z and Paul McCartney did something. I loved the music from them. Past couple of years, I've really struggled. I think it's part of getting older. I'm not as down with some of the new music. I mean,
I can't stand the new music
I cannot stand.
at all.
well, the kids,
Yeah.
I'm okay with some trap music now, like some of the rap today, because like
There's like 3 songs out of
some
a
of it's
billion.
good though. Some of it's good. Like
Hate
I
the
love
stuff.
Kevin Gates. You know what I mean? Like I love some of the stuff Drake is Future. So I'm cool with a lot of it, but some
Looking
of
for
it, I just
sponsors.
can't. You're looking for sponsors. Shout out to
Lamar
Drake.
is
You know.
the only one
Oh
I
my
can deal
goodness.
with right now.
Even that, man, I'm struggling with
all
new
the
artists.
auto-tune and they're not saying anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's just hard. Like
Oh,
you
they're
had,
saying the same thing over and over again. A
Yeah,
bunch.
but they're mumbling it now.
That's fair.
Well, and the other thing I've realized too is some artists are actually saying things, but I cannot relate to them
Yeah.
as much as kids today. So, like some of the songs have been pretty dark that the kids will get hooked on, and I'm like, I don't want you to listen to that song. It sounds like it's talking about suicide, and they're like, but that's not glorifying. It's more about just making people aware. There's a lot of people feeling that way, and this, that, and the other. And so then I think it's like the chicken before the egg conversation.
Either
is-
way, yeah.
You know what I
It's a
mean? But it's just,
catch-22.
it really, really is. But then, they've had a lot of people that are big to them die recently. Some different artists that have died. Like when we were growing up, I think like one of the bigger deaths was Aaliyah.
Right.
Selena?
Yeah, Selena.
Selena was a
yeah,
very big
both
one.
of them
Yep.
way too early. But the kids have had a handful of people, and no offense to those families. Was it Mac Miller was one, and then Juice World was another. I don't see.
You
I
are
have no idea.
significantly more in the know
Yeah.
than we are.
Yeah. Juice
But
World?
Kudos
Juice
to
WRLD.
you,
What's his name?
Joe.
Yes, that's just, I guess what he goes by. He's pretty talented though.
Yeah.
I'll
If
ask
you
my
listen to
daughter when I get
the
home.
new Eminem album, he's on a
Love
song
album.
called
I love Eminem.
dude, his new album's
Awesome.
heat,
Dope.
man.
Yeah.
It's
I love
heat.
it.
It's
I
heat.
love
In
it.
the words of the
Like,
kids
if he
today,
ever
the new one,
comes-
he's throwing
Yeah.
smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Are they? He's throwing smoke, or
I don't know.
he's giving
Throwing
smoke?
shade?
Do you want
Is
smoke?
he casting
I don't know.
shade?
Somebody's gonna have to
Is
correct
it
me
a
on this
shadow?
one.
What's happening?
We're gonna have to get Gio to help us
Yeah.
out with some
Yeah,
of this.
that's fair.
This lingo.
Yeah.
But
Know
but
what I'm
anyways,
saying?
Juice. Yeah, now I'm saying, Juice World is on his song Godzilla. And it's pretty good.
Godzilla.
Well, I didn't really know about it. Jack told me about it, and then I saw Adam posting a
Just the
review on it.
name. Juice World.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
Juice World. But anyway, so it's pretty big right now. But they're playing it.
Big
That'd be
with
like
the vegans.
Tupac.
Yeah.
But no, but like they're like, oh my gosh, Juice World, and this other guy with all the face tattoos or something. I don't know. But I'm like, it's not, to me, it's not the same as Tupac. But, you
No.
know,
No.
it's pretty big.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Anything else on social media this week, Joe?
I mean, it's too much to get into, really.
Okay. Well,
I'll
I mean,
just- I'll just-
happy lunar year.
Yeah, Year of the Rat.
Year of the Rat. Yeah.
Either I will say just two more things on the Grammys though. I guess shout out to Billie Eilish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Her and her brother winning all those awards.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was,
Demi Lovato's performance was breathtaking,
that was heavy.
and I don't understand why everybody randomly picked up flutes and trumpets in their performances. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
It was
I don't
random.
understand that. I thought that was,
Shout out to random horn instruments.
Oh, well, that's fair.
And one more thing in closing, because you know I love talking
That's fair.
about this stuff. If you want to be completely mind blown, you need to go check out Little Nas's performance of Old Town Road. But he had BTS.
Okay.
That was
yeah,
it.
the real Nas was there too.
Yes, he performed with him. I was like,
Yeah, yep.
completely
That
mind
was
blown.
good.
My kids are like, "Who's Nas?" And I'm like, "I failed." Jordan knows who Nas is because he listens to him too. My oldest son, he gets it, but the twins not so much. But in the middle of this though, BTS. It's the Korean K-pop.
Uh-huh.
They all look like vampires to me. We need a podcast
That's
on
who that is.
K-pop.
Okay, I was
we
like-
we need a podcast on K-pop because I need to understand. I don't get it. There's people at work that have their whole cubicle K-pop decorated, and they have like trading cards and stuff. Like people are like truly obsessed. But I don't get it. They look like
I
vampires.
found out this weekend my daughter does not like them, so I
Yeah.
was very happy.
That's a high five, bud.
I thought they were all Asian women. I'm not kidding. They had so
Wow.
much makeup on. Like behind there. So
This is
I found out they even have a name. So that's,
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them. They all kind of. I
learned
mean,
all kinds of stuff
they
from
all
Grammys.
dress a lot, and their hair looks a lot alike. And there's like 30
Yeah.
of them in one group. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's fair.
Oh man. So I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, that
This
is
week-
This Week in Social Media.